What's up, folks? This is Kenny here, doing what may be my last video for the rest of the year. It's coming up pretty soon. Want to talk a little bit about a big issue that's coming up. It's, of course, going to be around for next year. It's been around for decades, actually. That's, of course, illegal immigration. For those who don't know, there was a recent murder that was done. Really huge tragedy. Officer Singh, guy who was born in Fiji, came here legally, went through the proper channels, then decided to serve his country as a police officer, which of course the left does hate, although they won't admit it. Was gunned down by an illegal alien who should not have been here, had at least 2 DUIs that we know about. God only knows whatever felonies and convictions he had beforehand. Of course, he had some, I believe, relatives and friends who were helping him who were also been arrested for aiding and abetting him, which often the illegal alien community does, despite the sanctuary policy being in place. A lot of times the illegal aliens do not cooperate. This is and of course this is yet another murder, along with Molly Tibbetts, who was killed in Iowa, and Kate Steinle, Jamil Shaw, and many others that the media has usually ignores, unless of course it becomes such a high profile that they can't, and then they make excuses for it. And you'll hear these excuses after every illegal alien crime, and often used to justify illegal immigration. You'll hear that illegal aliens are basically a benefit of the economy, so it's kind of a necessary evil, as maybe a paraphrase of Milton Friedman. And you'll hear this on the Cato Institute, libertarian think tank types who try to twist numbers to make it look like illegal immigration is a benefit to the economy. It is not. They're less than 4% of the gross domestic product, less than 4% of the U.S. workforce, and most of that is often replaced, often within 24 hours. Most of them are working in illegal chicken plants and other facilities, and usually when there's either a massive raid or, in the case of Alabama self-deportation laws, the illegals are forced to leave when the law is actually being enforced. Usually within about 24 hours, they're surrounded by mainly blacks, along with poor whites and Hispanics who are here legally, the poor working class, there to get jobs. You type in Alabama self-deportation law, you literally have a chicken plant owner saying that, complaining about it. Quite frankly, I'd rather have Trump push for self-deportation laws than securing the border. I believe that would actually be more effective. And I often bring that up because that's another excuse that the pro-amnesty illegal alien side do, is they'll try to attack those who are pushing for securing the border for not caring about the other aspects of illegal immigration. Well, there's drugs, and illegal immigration comes in by port, they come in through the northern border, they overstay visas, and yes, all that is true. And those areas need to be reformed as well. But that doesn't mean that we still shouldn't secure the border with both a wall and the Border Patrol and the National Guard with the ability to use deadly force against what is a threat to the sovereignty of the U.S. And quite frankly, rather than building the wall, I'd rather have them shut down the traffic of vehicles that's coming in from the narco state of Mexico, which Trump is now threatening to do. I wish he had done it since day one, along with most of America. Now, of course, the media will immediately put out, well, we do so many millions and billions of dollars of trade with Mexico. I think The Hill had was able to name one expert from the Wilson Institute, named after the segregationist, socialist, bigoted President Woodrow Wilson, which tells you pretty much all you need to know about that organization, claiming that it could cost millions or billions of dollars. Well, who's it actually going to cost? What actually comes from Mexico? Most of the crap that comes from Mexico is low-grade, cheap, crappy, rip-off items, second-rate clothes, stuff that is not really needed in the economy. Would it hurt the economy? Yes. But would it destroy it? No. And I'll say this. We were more dependent on slavery pre-Civil War than we are on illegal immigration or trade with the narco state of Mexico. And quite frankly, it's just not worth it. It's not worth the fentanyl, the opiate overdoses, the heroin, the communicable diseases, the crime, the human trafficking. It's literally not worth it. It's gaining a little piece of the third world to say and losing your soul. That's literally what's happening. Not to mention the fact that under NAFTA now it's mainly a trade deficit. And most of the companies that are benefiting from either illegal migration or trade with Mexico are really crony capitalists. Some of the companies that do business with, like the bankers that bailed out Pemex. You'll never hear about Pemex. Pemex is the public-private partnership, the crony capitalist oil company of Mexico. Mexico is, of course, the #1 supplier of oil to the U.S., not the Middle East, which you often get the narrative of. It's actually from Mexico, and that may be actually one of the leverage that you never really hear about. Which is another reason why we do need to drill, use fossil fuel, and get away from the green energy climate change scam. By the way, I'm contributing to climate change here. Due to the freezing temperatures that Al Gore said would be gone by the year 2000. Well, he said the North Pole would be melted by then. Last I checked, Santa Claus was still there. So, but anyway, back to illegal migration. What really needs to happen, what people need to do right now, is to put pressure on their politicians. Number one, to get the U.S. Senate back in the session and to make them own the illegal immigration and agenda, especially now before the Pelosi Congress is reestablished. By the way, Republicans lost in large part because they failed to deal with this issue before, especially securing the border, as well as passing self-deportation laws. Just as they did in 2004 when they owned when Republicans owned the House and the Senate and the presidency, and they failed to deal with this issue despite 9/11 only a few years ago. That's one of the main reasons why they lost it. In 2006 when they pushed the amnesty, of course they lost even more. And then McCain, the lead effort behind amnesty, lost horribly to Barack Obama. And by the way, you'll hear almost every politician you can find video of them promising to secure the border. Barack Obama has promised it, Hillary's promised it, but of course they never actually do it. And they hate anybody who does, which is why they don't want this funding. They've passed funding for the wall before, but it never actually went to building the wall. Only under Trump has it really started to make an effort to build the wall. And I guess you could say that they had lied to Ronald Reagan in promising to secure the border. So this is really a promise that we've been waiting for since 1986. You know, build the wall, secure the border. That was part of the 86-87 amnesty, which we were lied to by Democrats and Republican operatives. And I believe that Donald Trump is making an effort to do this in part because he knows this is an issue campaign on. I believe most voters will still vote for him because of this effort, in the sense that people voted overwhelmingly for Ronald Reagan in his second term because they knew that he was making every effort possible to reduce the size and scope of government. And you'll get some, snotty Republican consultant type pundits that will say that under Reagan, the economy did grow. You'll have some libertarians who just want to bash Republicans say the same thing, but they leave out the fact that Ronald Reagan did make efforts to reduce the size and scope of government, to get rid of the Department of Education. He did remove a lot of people in the Trilateral Commission. I've seen projections that talked about the members of the Trilateral Commission on the Council on Foreign Relations. There were a lot more under Bush. There were a lot more under Carter, but under Reagan, a lot of them were removed and replaced. And of course, he had a lot to deal with. He had a George Herbert Walker Bush who was, doing a lot of shady stuff. I think, he was the director of the CIA before, and I think he knew a lot about what was going on with Barry Seal, a lot of the cocaine smuggling. Trump doesn't quite have that problem, I don't think, with Pence. But he still has a lot of the deep state that are trying to still start and lose wars. They started and lost the war on crack cocaine, of course, with Barry Seal and all that. They've started and lost the war with opiates in Afghanistan, where they let the opiate growers continue to do their thing. And I think they're doing it deliberately because they want to destroy this country. And of course, illegal immigration helps them. if you're sick of what you call the war on drugs, and you think that maybe some pothead who didn't have a rap sheet should be let go, then you need to join the effort to secure the border. Because the open opiate heroin border from the narco state of Mexico is what's doing more damage to any legalization effort for marijuana and other issues than anything else. It's the number one. When you hear about black on black crime and you hear some kid get shot, that's usually what it's over. It's over something that was brought over, whether it's Mexican ice or crack or liquid meth, or fentanyl that's brought over by boats from China. It's usually put into Mexico and then put into trucks and shipped over into the U.S. border. And so it's killing this country. It needs to be stopped. When you put pressure on our politicians, especially the U.S. Senate, to make them do a real filibuster. Because for those who don't know, the funding requires the 60 votes. The Mitch McConnell won't change the rules. He's been a coward on this issue for years. He needs to have pressure put on him and the other Republicans to really man up and make this an issue. Make the Democrats responsible for the murder of Officer Singh. Make them responsible for the death of Molly Tibbetts. Make them responsible for the opiate epidemic. It is their sanctuary city policies that are doing it. And then make it local too. A lot of sanctuary cities, that's done by mayors. That's done by city council people. The city of Little Rock is issuing IDs from the Mexican consulate. The Guatemalan consulate has been traveling across North Little Rock issuing IDs to its people. Well, supposedly they're people. Of course, it's so easy now to fake IDs in the third world. And I have video of when I happened to run into that. Literally, I was passing by a church and I noticed like a van. It was from the Guatemalan government, and they are actually taking their people, giving them IDs. And I've walked in there and I've asked someone what these IDs are for, and it's really to set up bank accounts so they can get on the welfare rolls, get paid under the table, and send their money back for remittances, which is actually one of the second sources of income for Mexico, if not the first, besides oil, and it kind of varies between the two. And of course, it's going to uplift a corrupt government. And really what these Central and South American countries need to do is these people, instead of just being at the mercy of human traffickers, they need to pick up guns, do what they did in Cheyenne, Mexico, take up arms, and go against the drug cartels and the corrupt government officials that are helping them. That's what they had to do in Colombia. If you watch the series Narcos, that's literally what had to happen. Sadly, there hasn't been a Lorca or somebody or General Serrano, as they were in Colombia, as there is in Mexico. If there is, they haven't gotten much coverage. I guess Brozo the Clown, who was a comedian in Mexico, he actually made videos of people, Mexican politicians stuffing money in their pants. Of course, sadly, a lot of journalists have been killed, real journalists. Unlike this Corgi bastard from Saudi Arabia. I don't even know his real name. Khashoggi, or I can't remember his name. It doesn't matter, because he was a propagandist anyway. He was a Al Qaeda propagandist, but he wasn't a real journalist. And he's in hell with Goebbels and the rest of them. Real journalists are the ones that were murdered by the cartels in Mexico. Not the pundits like Jorge Ramos and the cowards in Univision and Telemundo, who sit around and keep demanding that America let more illegals in and are just cheerleaders for the cartels and the corrupt politicians. Jorge Ramos is on his way to hell with Goebbels and the Russian Pravda and all the other propagandists that have ruined this world over the years, and Pulitzer and all the other bastards. That's another thing you need to do. You need to let people know, get them to break the media mold. And you're going to have to put pressure on your politicians to get them to get out and fight in this issue on a national level, as well as a state level and a local level. My state legislature meets January the 14th, and sadly, despite having a Republican supermajority and a Republican governor, we're probably not going to get self-deportation laws, because they have shown in the past, our governor said there was no need for sanctuary city law, anti-sanctuary city or anti-sanctuary campus laws. We tried those last year. You can see a video of that on the same YouTube account, Keep Arkansas Legal, where I was there, when the effort to cut the funding to campuses that wanted to provide sanctuary to illegal aliens failed, because the governor claimed there was no need for it, and there was some back deal efforts made. And it just disgusts me that the public education system, which we know was taken over by socialists, are still running the state. And I guarantee it's probably happening in your state too. And, you know, this is an Arkansas Tea Party T-shirt here, and I, along with others, have been fighting for real conservative values for years. But there's been a lot of people with an R next to their name who would stab us in the back, and sadly I fear it's going to happen again. And there's a lot of city councils. And the sad thing is they can do the opposite. They can pass self-deportation laws, like what was done in Alabama and what other cities have done, and force illegals from their place, which, quite frankly, would probably do an even better job than the wall. But you're going to have to get up. You're going to have to get involved. You're going to get out of your comfort zone, take some vacation time off, go down to your capital, go down to your city council, go down to your county government, and demand reform. And if not, get them on record of supporting amnesty. Get in their face about it, film it, broadcast it, social media it, tell people in person, text people, whatever. Get out and get them involved. So that's kind of, I guess, maybe a New Year's resolution to think about, is to get out and save your country, and really save the world too. Because this illegal immigration system is destroying the Central and South American countries. And it's killing us. It's killing this world. It needs to stop. And you can do it. Just, like I say, just get out and do it, man. You know, I helped defeat in-state tuition for illegals by beating both political parties. Mike Huckabee, with the help of a bunch of old ladies, we were next to nothing in funding. We defeated by 1 vote because we just put enough pressure on them. So, yeah, you can do it. That's it. I'm done. If nothing else, see you next year.